Okay, so I hope you got your wedging done. Once you have your wedging done, you need to hammer your clay and try to get it a little bit thinner than that ram's head that we just had. So pound on it, get it to be a little bit thinner, go back and forth in your hand. And I think it's easier to do it this way than using the rolling pin the whole time. Here we go. All right, once you have your clay set, we're gonna grab our guides. So just a reminder, the best guides are probably gonna be paint sticks or some nice sturdy books that are both the same thickness. Go to your Home Depot, Ace Hardware by school, and you can grab maybe some extra paint sticks. They probably even give them to you for free. So put those guides next to your clay. And we're trying to shoot to get about a 10-inch diameter. So we're gonna have to move our guides out just a little bit further today so we can get a nice big flat slab. And again, you should be standing up so you can get your rolling pin pushing and moving the clay nice and even. You can go. Now, as I'm doing this, my guides are spreading out because I have such a big hunk of clay, and that's okay if they keep kind of widening. Those guides are there so we know kind of how thick to press down, or how hard and how much to spread out that clay. Now I want to show you this. So as I was doing this, some air pockets popped up. And so I've got this little bubble that's happening. You're going to want to poke those bubbles to get rid of the air pockets if you see any of those happening. And then you can just keep rolling over them. We're going to try again. The other thing you can also do is grab a rib tool and just smooth over those score marks. And then I'm going to take out my rolling pin and we'll finish rolling. No, I'm making a video. All right, so now I've got a nice large slab of clay, if you can kind of see it here. And we'll move on to the next section. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we have our slab rolled out. You are gonna take your rib tool, remember this is the wooden rib tool, and you're gonna lay it down at a 45-degree angle and pull across in 2 different directions. We did this for your first project, and it really strengthens the clay body. So we want to go 2 different directions to get it nice and smooth. We are going to be doing this on both sides of the clay. So what I normally do, I need to move my guides over. I normally take my slab and I peel it back. Cloth, I've got a couple wrinkles going on here, and so this is a perfect time for me to smooth out those wrinkles using that rib tool. If you see any air pockets, now would be the time to poke into those air pockets and just get rid of them. You know, we don't want our projects blowing up in the kiln. When we wedge our clay, sometimes we don't get all of the itty bitty air pockets. And there's ways to get rid of those air pockets. If you find them, that is, in this stage. Okay, now for our project, we are building a slump mold bowl. So a slump mold is a form that the clay is going to be sitting inside. Now, there's a variety of ways that you can do slump molds. Sometimes potters will put the clay on the outside of the bowl. That works okay. The way I like to do a slump mold is to lay it on the interior of the bowl. Bowls that are going to be easier to work with are serving bowls or wider bowls. This is my salad bowl from my cupboard. This is a mixing bowl I use for baking, but any bowl that has a wide enough mouth to it is going to be the best. And I'd say this diameter is around 8 inches in diameter. So don't do a smaller ice cream bowl or maybe your ice cream bowl is really big. What I would say, these kind of bowls that have, this is my lunch here, these kind of bowls where it's really closed off and not very open, you know, the walls are really straight up and down, those are going to be really hard to use for this slump mold bowl. So try to find a bowl where it's more of a gradual transition and you'll have a lot easier time. Then, with any surface, like a hard surface like this bowl here, or you could find a plastic bowl, if we lay the clay inside of it or over the top of it, our clay is going to stick to it. If you noticed and you forgot to lay down something when you're rolling out your slab and it's stuck to your surface, it's because you didn't have a barrier in between the clay and your surface. The clay just wants to bond to that hard surface, and it would do the same thing to our bowl. So what I do is I take a piece of paper towel. If you have the Select-A-Size paper towel, what you're going to do is you're going to separate it till you hit the middle. If you don't have that Select-A-Size, so I've got, you know, paper towel, you're going to want to grab a scissors and cut toward the middle, because what that will allow you to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to overlap them. And then just keep kind of moving that together, and you'll have less wrinkles on the inside of your bowl if you do that. We're probably going to have some wrinkles regardless. And what you want to do is you want to press that paper towel in as best you can so that it lays as flat as you possibly can. I'm going to put this over to the side for just a sec and pick up my, I'm not going to do it on the phone. Now, again, there's always multiple ways to do things. So what I could have done is I could take my bowl, turn it upside down, and I can trace the outside of this so that it matches up with my bowl. And then I would get a perfectly nice round circle that I'm gonna lay on the inside. So we're gonna try this method. And then what I normally do is I make a cut so I can separate that out.
Whoa. What is that? Sorry.
It's just my husband in the room next door. Got a lot of leftover clay. And I'll grab my paper towel. Then I'm going to take my circle and I'm going to gently lay this inside. Now right now it's resting on the rim here, and then I'm going to slowly, what I'm doing is I'm moving my hands like this. I'll try to point this up so you can see what I'm doing. I'm kind of stretching the clay. I left my clay about 3/8 of an inch thick, and this is going to stretch and press. I can lift this up and turn this around. And you can see, so when I use the rim to cut, it's not quite big enough to be the exact same size as the bowl was. But since our clay is in the wet clay stage, meaning that the clay can move and stretch and change shape, it allows us to thin it out a little bit, and it'll form to our mold. So as I'm doing this, it's starting, now it's more indented into the form of the bowl. This is looking really nice. And keep doing this. And this is looking really good. Now the next step would be taking a blow dryer to this and getting it so that we can get to our leather hard stage. Then we'll be able to flip this out and then finish off the back side as well. We've got other texture considerations, so stay tuned. All right, just a little thing to talk about blow drying. When you're blow drying, you want to make sure that your blow dryer is nice and close to the clay body. It'll go faster. And also the amount of heat, if you have it on high or hot, it'll go faster as well. And you don't want to go too far. So make sure when you're blow drying your clay body that you test it every once in a while to see what your clay consists, about every minute or maybe 30 seconds. So you can see how quickly it's drying out. So when I checked mine, I just grabbed the paper towel and it just lifts out really nice and easy. And as I start pulling the paper towel away, I'm seeing that my walls are able to stand up on their own. So that's what you really want. Now, in this stage, it's still in between hard leather hard and wet clay. So I would say this is not fully leather hard, but it's starting to keep its form. And what I want to do right now is I want to test and smooth out the back side. As I peel off my paper towel, you can see that I have some wrinkles here from the paper towel that I need to get rid of. So I'm going to grab my wooden rib again. You could take your metal rib. The metal rib is fabulous because it bends around your form really nicely. And you can see I'm just holding this in my hand. If you rolled your slab out too far and you're holding it in your hand like this, sometimes those really thin slabs of clay can crack and break. So just make sure that you're not rolling your slabs too thin. I would say the right thickness for a slab is somewhere thinner than 1/2 inch and closer to 3/8 to 1/4 inch. We're smoothing all of these areas out. And it's looking nice and smooth. Then the next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to figure out what you want to do with your rim. And so as I go here, you can see that I've done no pinching, right? If we start pinching our clay, you're going to get thin areas and thick areas. So as you start touching up your rim, you can take your fingertip and just go alongside the edge and really smooth that out. That would be kind of the first step. With your bowl, there's lots of different kinds of rims that you can do. I'm going to do some smoothing and then we'll talk about other options.